Good afternoon again, everyone. Afternoon to our members, prospective members, and friends of ACHEA. Are you hearing me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, great. Right. So afternoon, one and all. I'm Lucretia Gordon-Brightson, and I am the Jamaica chapter chair and the acting first vice president. Let me start by saying the warmest of welcome to each and everyone who has joined for this workshop. And of course, we can't begin without inviting the Holy Spirit in our midst, just to lead and direct our proceedings. So we will leave this session highly empowered. Amen. So this webinar is being hosted by ACHEA with you in mind. And for those who are unfamiliar with ACHEA, the Association of Caribbean Higher Education Administrators, as an organization, it was launched in July 2001. And the overarching goal was to bring together a body of professionals who are chiefly responsible for innovation and the maintenance of efficiency in the administrative operations of their respective schools or colleges, institutions. The association's goals are achieved through training and the identification of best practices, the provision of opportunities for effective networking, and the promotion of institutional research. Excuse me. 1 minute, please. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought I turned this thing off. So today's session will be hosted by Mr. Javier Bailey, and it is titled Facilitating Successful Workshop or Meetings Using Microsoft Teams. It is the third in a series of seminars organized to commemorate our 20th anniversary celebrations. And of course, the fourth will be held this Thursday at the same time. And that workshop will be on Zoom. If you have not yet registered, we invite you to do so using the link that has been provided. And just to alert you that right after this, I'm asking, don't leave, we have some announcement. So without further ado, let me invite Dr. Edward, the chair of the Barbados chapter, to introduce our presenter. Do enjoy the workshop. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucretia. I am Dr. Edward from the Barbados chapter, and it is a pleasure to introduce our presenter this afternoon. Our presenter is Mr. Javier Bailey, a young, enthusiastic IT professional with more than 5 years experience in website and web application development, with proven management and development skills. He is knowledgeable and brings forth expertise design, development, testing, and maintenance of web systems. In recent years, he has been part of the UE Office 365 implementation team. His responsibilities include setting up Microsoft applications on client devices, addressing client issues, providing support to staff across the regional offices of the UWI, and conducting several training sessions on the efficient and effective integration of Microsoft applications with business processes. Having just completed his MSc in Computer-Based Management Information Systems, he hopes to use the knowledge gained to improve his professional career and drive the use of information and communication technologies in realizing the strategic objectives of any enterprise that he is part of. Javier's interest includes sports, namely basketball, football, volleyball, hiking, traveling to new places, and developing new skills. Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, I present to you Mr. Javier Bailey. Mr. Bailey.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Edward, for the introduction. All right, so the reason we're here today is for me to introduce you to Microsoft Teams. And I will start with that right now. All right, so the objective of the presentation is to highlight some key features of the application Microsoft Teams, and for us to gain an understanding of how this application can be used to increase organizational as well as individual productivity in our day-to-day work activities, as well as our personal lives. So how we work has changed significantly over the past couple of years. A lot of persons would have moved from working in smaller groups to working in larger groups, working in larger teams even. And even more recently, in recent times, as a result of the pandemic, COVID pandemic, telecommuting or remote working has become more prominent. And of course, we would, even though we are working in remote places or not in our usual offices or cubicles, we'll still need to maintain a high level of productivity. And if collaboration isn't effective, then it would take a longer time for us to make and execute decisions. It would take a longer time for us to collect and manipulate data, which would use to inform our decisions. And if we cannot make these decisions, then we may not be able to drive the right amount of business, right amount of success that our individual businesses would like to achieve. So as a result, platforms such as Microsoft Teams would have been developed. Now, what is Microsoft Teams? Now, Microsoft Teams is a part of the Office 365 platform, which was developed by Microsoft, one of the largest software companies globally. Now, Microsoft Teams is a tool, as it says here, that facilitates the virtual gathering of users in a single space to engage in meaningful conversations, exchange different ideas and documents. It utilizes Microsoft applications to enhance the work experience. So such applications include Microsoft Word, day-to-day productivity tools, Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, which is what I'm using now to deliver the presentation. And it facilitates communication and collaboration, right? So as I said, it brings people, conversations, files, and various tools into one place, allowing us to maintain a high level of productivity. So what does this tool have to offer? It facilitates chats for today's teams. So as I said before, we are working in much larger groups now. We are also working in different locations. So we definitely need to maintain constant communication so that we can maintain productivity. So once everybody is able to communicate with each other instantly and get instant feedback, then we are able to drive productivity. It is a hub for teamwork. So here we can share information with each other. And as I said, get instant feedback. So nobody who is a part of a particular team is left out of the loop. So if they are unable to join immediately or be a part of the discussion immediately, there are ways in which this tool can be used to facilitate the persons can go back and view the thread, the conversation thread, so that they can get up to date. Security, which is a big thing now that most of our communication is happening via the internet. This application, as part of Microsoft's offering, guarantees a high level of security across the application. So the application in this instance being Office 365. So as I said before, Microsoft Teams is a part of Office 365, which Microsoft has packaged to include a variety of tools, the day-to-day tools that we use. As I said, Word, Outlook for emails, PowerPoint, Excel, and they've included Microsoft Teams so that they can integrate all of those applications. So they guarantee a high level of security so that files that we share, conversations that we have are protected. And it's customizable for each team. So if there's a team in the finance department, there are applications that would be more beneficial to the finance department, as opposed to applications that would be more important to persons in the IT department. So it facilitates customization, so you can tailor the application to suit your activities. And I'll be going into a demonstration in a little while to show you how some of the customization can be done. So next I'll be speaking about some of the features of Microsoft Teams. So as the name suggests, Microsoft Teams, it is the team here refers to a group of people who are from a particular department, who are working on a specific project, or a team could be an entire organization. Now, within the application, there are constructs called teams, as the name suggests. Now, within each team, there are what is called channels, or what are called channels. Now, the channels are set up to facilitate a specific topic. So for example, if we're working on a project, say ACHEA, an anniversary conference, the team could be ACHEA anniversary conference committee or planning committee. Then the channel now could be finance committee, finance committee. You could also have transport committee, and so on and so forth. So the team is the broader group, and then within the channel, you can have subgroups, right? So within those two constructs, the application facilitates chat, where a chat feature where members of the team can communicate instantly. So I send you a message and you're notified immediately, and we can have back and forth conversation. As it says here that the conversations are threaded, which means that there's a record of that conversation that is kept, so that we can, I can be kept up to date with what was discussed. We're able to have and share documents within the application. So for example, if we are planning the conference and we are working on the budget, for example, I wouldn't be needing to email a document back and forth. We can store the document in one location, and we'd all have access. All the members of the committee would be able to access the document and be able to work on the document in real time, so that we can keep up to date, and we can keep track of all the changes that are made. And nobody from the team will be left out of the loop. So in addition to the file sharing, we can share documents from our computer. We can incorporate additional cloud storage. So Microsoft has OneDrive, which is their cloud storage platform, and there's Google Drive, which is, of course, from a Google product. But we can incorporate those as well as other cloud storage locations or services and we can share documents with our team. Now within the team's setup, the security aspect of it is that the person who creates the team is considered the owner. Now that person is able to assign owners to the team as well. So if I add, for example, my colleague Dwayne to the team, I can make him an owner, or he can stay as a member. And of course, the various functionality would differ based on the role that the person has as part of the team. All right, so we'll go to meetings, and it's funny how we're using Zoom to talk about another application that does the same thing. So Microsoft Teams facilitates meetings similar to what we're having here on Zoom right now. So from the conversations that would happen within a particular team or a particular channel, we're able to move directly into a meeting. So if we're discussing the planning of the conference next year, and someone says, hey, we should meet now, we can move right into a meeting, and then the record of that conversation will be displayed for the persons in the meeting. So we can, again, we can be aware of what is being discussed. We can also notify people, invite people, similar to how we were all notified and invited to this session. There is a meeting history that would be logged so that persons who would have missed the meeting would be able to keep track of the activities. So they would be able to see the chat history of the meeting. They would also be able to see a recording of what took place in the meeting. Now that was an explanation of an impromptu meeting. So we can also schedule meetings ahead of time. So if we want to have a meeting next week, at this time, we can schedule it actually for the particular time, date, and send out the invite. Now within the meeting, similar to what I'm doing here, where I'm sharing my screen, you can share your screen, PowerPoint presentations as I'm doing now. We can show running programs, and there's also a whiteboard feature. Now with the whiteboard feature, persons are able to, all the members of the team, I can restrict the access to allow only me to annotate on the whiteboard, as well as I can allow other persons within the meeting to annotate. So that would be beneficial for a brainstorming session where we can just put all our ideas on the whiteboard, right? Now the meetings, there are two types of meetings, video calls as well as audio calls. So what we're having now is a video call where I'm sharing my video. You can see me as well as you can see my presentation. With the audio calls, it will be similar to a phone call, only thing that it's facilitated via the internet. So it'll be similar to a WhatsApp call. And of course, with these meetings, we can have individual meetings, one-on-one, as well as we can have group meetings. And I believe it goes up to about 600 or so people that we can facilitate in a meeting. Now, live events would speak to webinars, which is a feature in Zoom. So it's an extension of the Teams where it allows team meetings, where it allows users to broadcast video and meeting content to large audiences. Now in this kind of setup, as I said, it would be like a webinar where the presenters are allowed to, the participants are not allowed to share their video, as in turn their video on, nor are they allowed to speak. So the only form of communication that would be facilitated in this kind of setup would be via chat. So a question and answer session. So if it is 1,000 people, for example, you don't necessarily want that much people to be able to speak, because controlling that large amount of people can be chaotic, right? So this feature would be beneficial if you're doing a webinar setup and you want that level of control and to be able to reach your audience effectively, because as a presenter, you'll be able to speak and share your screen and as well as be able to control the audience, but still remain engaged with them. All right, so further to the teams. So when we're in the teams, once we have the team set up, sorry, there are features that we can utilize. And again, I'll show that in a demonstration shortly. So we have the team set up, and I'm using the example of the finance department again. So in finance, one of the heavily used applications is Microsoft Excel, where they use that to create their balance sheets, income statements, and so on, right? So they would leverage the use of tabs and connectors, which are a part of the Microsoft Teams application. So it says here that it facilitates the integration of powerful tools and services within the Teams channel. So we can create a files tab, right? So the tab now would have a repository of, or a storage area for all the documents relating to that particular team, right? So if it is the finance example, they would have a budgets folder, for example, or special projects or accounts or whatever else is pertinent to finance. They would have various folders for those various topics. Within those folders now you have the document. So every member of the team is able to go in and view those documents, edit those documents, and have conversations around the document. So if, for example, it's a budget document, they would be able to go in, view the document, and say, for example, oh no, this line item is too much or too little, and then the person responsible for changing it will be able to adjust it. Would see the comment made and will be able to adjust it. And of course, all of this can happen in real time, where if multiple persons are in the document, we can see what changes are being made. There's another tab, the Notes tab. So this particular tab can be used to just have like a notice board, for example, for the specific department. So it could just be used to alert persons of upcoming meetings, upcoming discussions, stuff like that. There are other tabs that could be beneficial. There's Power BI, which is a business intelligence tool that is used to manipulate and present data. So again, with the finance example, if they want to track their expenditure over a number of years, they'll be able to integrate Power BI and they will be able to see their reports in one view. So they won't necessarily have to come out of Microsoft Teams and then open another application to see all of that. That can be set up and would be available inside Microsoft Teams. So as the definition or the explanation of what Microsoft Teams is, that is the hub for teamwork. So it reduces the need for us to use multiple applications. We're still using multiple applications, but within one application. So we don't have to open and close 100 apps. Everything would be in one place. There's Planner, which is another application within Teams that allows us to do some sort of project management. So again, if we are preparing for the ACHEA conference next year, we can use Planner to assign tasks to various persons. So if, for example, Dr. Edward is responsible for getting the speakers together, we can assign a task to him and we can give him a deadline. He would be able to say when he's done, and the members of the committee would be notified that he has completed his task. And if he hasn't and the deadline has passed, we'll be notified as well. And we can send him a follow-up and say, hey, you have missed the deadline, what's happening with this, and so on and so forth. And this can be used for any particular project. We can also have conversations within the tab about observations or specific findings. And again, team members will be able to follow. So can't stress this any more, that this application is centered around teamwork, collaboration, in an effort to increase productivity, right? There are connectors as well, which allows Teams, the application, to receive updates from popular services such as Twitter, YouTube. So there are YouTube channels and there are Twitter pages or feeds. So if it is again, finance example, if you want to, connect to Bloomberg on Twitter or Bloomberg on YouTube, and you want constant updates from these pages, you'll be able to integrate those within Teams, and you'd be able to keep track of the latest updates from these applications or these services. All right, so next I'll be going into a demo. I see on the agenda that will be facilitating question and answer, but while I switch to the demo, are there any questions so far? No questions. All right. All right, so.
Question.
Yes, question?
Yeah. In terms of an audit trail, is there a mechanism built into MS Teams to know who did what and when?
Yes, there is. So for example, document editing, there is version control in Teams. There is like a timestamp or an activity thread, which would show you that, hey, Javier just edited this document. And then there's also a feature where if you're editing the document, let me give an actual example. Let us see here.
The other question, in terms of ownership, in the older version of Microsoft Office, I could have just bought Microsoft Office and uninstall.
Right.
If ACHEA wanted to acquire Teams, how would they go about doing that?
All right, so the acquisition of Teams, you'd have to go through Microsoft, or there are local Microsoft service providers, and you would have to purchase a license through Microsoft to get access to Teams. But then you won't necessarily get access to Teams alone. You'd be purchasing Office 365, which would give you access to Teams.
Okay, thank you.
Right, no problem. All right, so this here is a demonstration of the application itself. Now, let's start from the top here. So on the left here is the menu within the application. So we have the calendar, activity, chat, assignments, teams, calls, files, and then some. Right, so on the calendar, here is where we would be able to create our meetings. Now, if it's an impromptu meeting, we can just click meet now, and we'd be able to have an impromptu meeting. We can also schedule meetings or select live event, which I had mentioned before. So in scheduling the meeting, we're presented with this interface, which is similar to Zoom, where we create the title or the topic of the meeting. If we are aware of the attendees, we can, or we have specific attendees, we can add them here. We select the date and time, the frequency of the meeting. And with Teams, here we can select the channel that we want the meeting to be held in. So if, for example, we would have created a team, the ACHEA conference team, right? We would be able to set the meeting, right? We'll be able to set the meeting, and the persons within the team would be notified of that meeting. So let me just do a quick demonstration here. And we want it to be November 30 at 3 o'clock. and we are choosing this team. So I created this team earlier today for demonstration. So we're choosing this is the name of the team, and then this is the channel. So I click send. Let's try again. Let's put on tomorrow. That's not good. What could be the problem? It's not telling me what the problem could be. Let's dismiss for now, but it would come up right here, and then the team would be notified of the meeting scheduled. Right, so under activity, here we would see the list of activities that you, the user who would be signed into your Microsoft Teams account, that the things that you would be you would have done, right? So here it said that I posted in a general channel, and I responded to Mr. Campbell here. All right, so this is just to show the activities or the actions that you would have done within your account. And here is the chat feature. This list here shows the person or the group that you would have been in conversation with. So shows you the full thread here, full history. This meeting would have happened last Friday, and so if I wasn't able to attend this meeting, I'd come here and I'd be able to see the recording of the meeting. Right. So this is the keeping everyone in the loop feature that I was speaking of, where the conversation thread. So if any discussion would have happened during the meeting, I would be able to see the conversation thread here. Right. So this assignments tab, again, back to the license. This feature is here because of the type of license we have here at UE. We have an education license, which would or can be used for teaching purposes, and is being used for teaching purposes. So this particular tab, assignments, is where lecturers will be able to go create assignments, or have classrooms create assignments and have conversations with their students, right? And here, Teams tab, this list on the left here is a list of all the teams that I'm a part of. So all the teams, and again, the team is specific to a department, a project, an organization, or as a small group, right? So again, I created this team, demonstration team, for the purpose of this session. Now, by default, once the team is created, there's a general channel, right? So this is the general channel, and here is where whatever conversations take place, it would be displayed here. So I can type, I am the only one in this team right now. That would be sent, right? Now, up top here is, you remember I made mention of tabs and connectors. These are the tabs. So you have the team, the channel, and then the tabs. And again, by default, once the team is created, it comes with a general channel, which is like the main area or the lobby area for the team, right? And the general channel comes with the posts, files, and notebook. So under files now, we can add new documents, we can upload new folders, and so on. So we can create a document here. Let's create a new document. Demo document. So we'll create the document here. And we'll be able to edit this document. So back to what I had said about all the applications being available within one location. So this interface, if you use Microsoft Word, this is the interface that you'd be used to. We are able to copy and paste. We're able to change the font size, font styles. We are able to manage the alignment. We can choose the style of the font. We can insert pictures, tables, comments, headers, footers, page numbers. We can change the layout of the document, increase or decrease the margin, orientation, the size of the page, indentation. We're able to add table of contents. We can add comments again here. We can track the changes. So I think Dr. Edward had asked a question earlier about the like version control or the tracking of the activities. This is one way that you can use it, where you turn the tracking on for everyone. So once a change is made, then it would not be affected immediately, but someone else would have to go into the document and accept those changes, right? So again, a familiar interface. So this would definitely lessen the learning curve of the application. So you're still typing, able to type. So you see that comes up that says Javier Bailey inserted, still able to type. So now someone else who would be a part of the team or who would have access to the document to be able to go in and accept those changes, right? So let's close the document. And you see here, it would pop up under files. So any member of the team would be able to view this document. It also says here that it was modified a few seconds ago and who modified it, right? So we're also able to upload files and folders from our computer. We can also share these documents. So if I click copy link, it would generate a link for me. I can copy it and I can add it to an email. So I would not be attaching the document. I'd just be attaching the link to the document. So the person will be able to, the recipient will be able to come in and edit the document, and I would be able to see the changes. You can also download the document. I can add cloud storage, and again, adding the cloud storage is the integration of OneDrive, which is Microsoft's cloud storage service, as well as integrating Google Drive, which is Google's service, right? Now we can also add additional tabs. Now these are all except for this one, Microsoft Products, YouTube, where we can integrate these applications here. So if we integrate Excel, we can integrate Excel here. We'll be able to see the list of Excel documents. So again, if it's a finance department, we'll be able to see the list of Excel documents, similar to how this demo document is listed out here, right? On the calls, again, we can have video calls, we can have voice calls, and there's even voicemail. So if I call you and don't get through to you, I can leave a voicemail. And when you log on, you'd be able to see, or not see, but hear, see the notification that Javier would have left a voicemail, and of course, you'd be able to listen to it, right?
Mr. Bailey?
Yes?
Before you go on, there's a question in the chat. It says, can someone external to the team who has a link access the document? So if the team is working on a document,
certainly,
okay.
yes. All right, so let's speak a little more on that. Because of how Microsoft sets up the license, it is restricted in a sense to the organization. So all these persons that you're seeing, the names of these persons here are UE staff members, right? So if I add them to the team, they would come up, their names would come up right away. But if, for example, if it's someone external, their names wouldn't come up readily. But I'd still be able to add them to the team. I still would be able to share documents and so on with them, but they would be considered a guest. So they would be considered outside of the organization, and that's just how the structure of the license is set up with Microsoft. All right. On the files tab here, it shows the list of all the documents that I would have worked on in recent times. All right. So you see here the demo document, which is the one I just created a while ago, and it shows the location of it, right? This one here would show the list of the documents that I would have worked on within Microsoft Teams, right? So this one is more general in that it accesses all the documents from my OneDrive, but this one is more specific to Teams. And here again, we can integrate cloud storage services. So additional services such as Google Drive, ShareFile, Ignite, Box, Dropbox, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with these two, Google Drive and Dropbox. So we can integrate those into Microsoft Teams. I don't think I missed out anything else. Yes, there is one more thing where Microsoft allows us to be able to incorporate third-party applications, right? So not only Microsoft applications, but third-party applications. I keep on saying that I don't know majority of these applications, but because there are so many. But what I think Microsoft is getting at is the facilitation of a central workspace so that we don't have to be going from one application to another, which is why they would have leveraged or facilitated a connection with these applications, third-party applications. So if you have, I know one of them that I can definitely speak to, GitHub, which is a repository for projects. So it's a community for software projects. So if I create an application, for example, I can upload my code to that application, and I can share it with other persons. So if I'm a part of a development team, I can integrate the GitHub repository into the team so that persons who are a part of the development team will be able to keep up to date with the various changes within the code for the application that we team are working on, right? And it's the same thing with all the other applications. And again, some of them I'm not familiar with, but Microsoft has facilitated the integration into their application to make teams able to use them and to use it to facilitate their various day-to-day activities, right? I should show you how to add persons to the team, right? So if we go here, can manage the team, and I can add a member to the team. So let's add my colleague Dwayne. So because again, they are staff members of UE, we are connected right across the region. So once I type the person's name, they would come up and I'll be able to add him to the team. And again, what I was speaking to earlier, I can keep, by default, it would add him as a member, but I can make him an owner of the team. So now he has administrative rights to the team. So he can also add other persons, he can remove persons, he can add channels. So let's add another channel to the team. So let's call it, channel 2. And we give it a description, just another channel. All right. And we want everybody who is a part of the team to be able to view or see that channel. So I'm adding that channel now. And here we go. So we see that the channel also comes with its own post tab where we can have conversations around the channel. So again, the channel would be specific to a particular topic. So we could be having conversations around channel 2 subject. We can have files relating to channel 2 only, right? So you notice that we have the general channel and channel 2, where the files of the general channel are not visible under here. So we'd have to go to the general channel to see, right? So here, Dwayne responded. So hey, Javier, thanks for adding me. You're welcome. And this is real-time conversation happening here, right? So we can have a meeting. So if I click meet now, sure it may feedback. Let me mute my mic and connect. You don't have to answer. Yeah. All right, so this is the meeting interface for Microsoft Teams. So it is similar to Zoom, where we can see the participants over here. And if, for example, we want to invite other persons, I can type their name, but again, it is restricted to persons within your organization. And in our case, it would be Yui. So if I type Sarnia, for example. Hi, Javier, how are you? Greetings, Dwayne. I'm sure everybody would be able or should be able to hear what Dwayne said a while ago. So I can add Sarnia, but if I want to share it, or she may not answer. But it would send a call to her right away for her to connect to the meeting. I can also copy the information and then I can paste it in a WhatsApp message, for example. And once the person clicks it, then they'd be able to join the meeting. And this way we can invite persons outside of the organization. So once they join, they would show up as a guest, right? We can also have conversation within the meeting, which is the chat feature, which we're using here in Zoom right now. We have the raise hand feature, right? So I lower my hand. We have other options here, which again is similar to Zoom. We can record the event. We have virtual backgrounds, which is similar to what I'm using now. We can transition to full screen, gallery mode. We can have our meeting notes, details on the meeting. This again, we can share, copy the join info, and we share it with persons who we want to join the meeting. Device settings and device settings would be relating to my camera and my speaker, so on and so forth. I'm also able to share content. So if I click the arrow here, you would see all of the applications that I have open, right? And would be able to, I'll be able to share the screen, right? So we will do that. All right. All right, thanks, Dwayne. Gonna end the call now. All right, so I will end the meeting. All right, so here you see that it posted to the channel a while ago about the meeting. So if someone was not notified initially, they would be able to come to the channel and see that a meeting is happening and be able to join, right? If we had recorded the meeting, the recording of the meeting would have been visible here. After a few minutes, while they do the processing and so on and so forth, it would be visible here. I don't want doing to show to the Nigel. Let us do this demo doc. I think doing is online. Let me see. Doing. Oh, let me see. 1 second, please, guys. I want to show you the ability to work on the document in real time, where we can multiple persons can work on the document at the same time. 1 second, please. Oh, not getting to. All right, but in the feature that I wanted to show you was that I could have the document open, and Dwayne, my colleague, would also be able to have the document open, and we both could be typing at the same time, and without interfering with each other. We can both work on the document, make whatever changes that we need. Okay, so he's here, great. Right, so this is doing typing here, so I can do my thing down here. And he is also here working on the document. So you see his this notification comes up here to show where in document he is, and I can see what he's typing. Right. So this definitely is an excellent tool for the collaboration. So if we are in different locations, and more so now because of COVID, we can still maintain a high level of productivity. So this document would be within our various teams or under a specific channel, and we can still work on the document. We won't have to email the document back and forth, because it would be there within the team. We can go in, make our respective changes, and then jump back out of the document, right? So if I close the document here, see, it says modified a few seconds ago by Dwayne, right? So if we go back and see something, some kind of change was made, we would be made aware of who made the change and how long ago they made the change, right? So that definitely is one of the audit trail features that I believe Dr. Edward was asking about earlier, right? And I believe I've covered most, if not all, the features of Microsoft Teams. Let me go to the chat.
Just one thing here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you demonstrated how to add persons from the organization.
Right.
But how do you add persons who are not from the organization?
All right, so let us add a member. No, we can, where is it? Link to team. So this link now, we can send to persons who are outside of the organization. So I'm gonna walk through that slowly. We go here, more options, and we can get the link to the team. And one thing I must say, that Teams is available in the browser. And I saw something just last night that if you have Internet Explorer, Microsoft is no longer supporting Teams in Internet Explorer. So it is available and works well in Chrome, Microsoft Edge, that's Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, Mozilla Firefox. There's also an Android and a Mac or Apple application that you can download. Right, so in this case now, you would copy this link and send to the person who you want to add to the team, and they would be able to join the team. Right.
Okay, Mr. Bailey, I have 3 questions in the chat for you.
Yes.
The first is, what is the maximum number of persons that can be accommodated in a Teams meeting?
In a Teams meeting, last time I read it was about 250 persons. I think anything over that, you could probably consider it to be like a webinar, or in this case, a live event where the control of the participants would get burdensome. So you would want to definitely restrict the actions that they can do. So for example, talking, you wouldn't want, suppose everybody, all 1,000 persons have their mic open at one time. I think the example I gave earlier, that would be pretty chaotic and very disruptive. So you wouldn't want that.
Okay, so in that case, it becomes a broadcast.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. So the second question is, can a member who doesn't have Microsoft 365 access and work in Teams?
Definitely. So this particular team here, that's called the crew, this was created to facilitate members of my program, master's program, who of course didn't have Teams. So they were able to come in, fulsomely participate. They were able to access all the documents and view the conversations, participate in the conversations, as well as meet with us. So it is possible. It's just that, well, on the administrative side of things, they won't be able to do certain activities, which in my opinion is quite fine. But at least one person in the group would be able to do that. So add new persons, remove persons, and so on and so forth. They wouldn't necessarily be concerned with that, but to facilitate fulsome participation in terms of working on the documents, attending meetings, they would definitely have that capacity. So you'd be able to add them similar to how I demonstrated a while ago. And once they're in the team, then they'll be able to participate.
Okay, thank you. The third question is, how many persons can work on the document at the same time? How many persons can work?
I'm not sure if there's a limit, but in my answer would be to use your discretion. You don't want, again, 1,000 persons working on a document at the same time. But I have seen about more than 10 working on a document at a time, and it worked fine. As long as you have stable internet connection, then you'll be fine.
Okay, and perhaps working on different sections.
Definitely. Right. Okay. So you wouldn't want to be typing in the same place and you ending up deleting something that somebody else typed. But as was shown a while ago in the demonstration, if someone else is in the document, you see a cursor. So in our example, Dwayne's cursor was blue. So he would have typed right here and his cursor would have been blue. So I would know that, okay, that's Dwayne here. And yes, so there we go. So you just hover over it and you see that it's Dwayne Kildare. And if, for example, you want to see, if there were 10 other persons here, you would see Dwayne's name and then a plus beside it. And you just click and you'd see the list of persons drop down. And then, so for example, if this document had, 1 second, let's create some more pages. So we've gone all the way down here. And I want to go to where Dwayne is typing. I just click on his name, go to location, and it will take me right back up here. All right, so there are a lot of persons that can be facilitated on a document, but of course, once you pass a certain number, then it may become chaotic.
Okay.
So it will be dependent on the size of the document and what exactly you want to achieve.
Okay, thank you. My question to you is, in your opinion, what advantage does Microsoft have over the other platforms? Microsoft Team.
All right, so I would compare it to Zoom and I would compare it to like Google Meets. So first of all, with Zoom, the feature of collaboration in that we're able to work on documents, we're able to integrate other applications, productivity tools such as Excel, Word, as well as integrate other third-party applications. The fact that Teams is able to do that is definitely a plus over Zoom. In relation to Google Meets now, because Google has their own suite of applications where you have Google Drive and Google Docs. There is some similarity, but the limitation that exists there is that it's only Google products, Google applications. So again, Microsoft would have the edge there in that they facilitate third-party applications to be integrated, as I had shown in Teams here. So we can integrate up here. We can integrate a whole host of applications, download applications. So that, in my opinion, would be one of the leading features of Teams over the other applications. But again, it depends on your specific use case. So if you are just in the business of facilitating meetings, then a cheaper option could be Zoom or free option of Google Meets. But then if you want additional features and functionality, such as the collaborative experience, then definitely Microsoft Teams, which is a part of Office 365, would be the answer.
Okay, so are you saying that there are no free versions of Teams, basic, that is available?
No.
Okay.
It is paid. So you'd have to subscribe to or purchase a license from Microsoft.
Okay.
But there are varying packages, is what I'd call it, where there's a personal and then there would be enterprise level. Of course, the personal would be cheaper.
Okay, thank you. We are open to take 2 questions. Anyone has any further question to ask at this point? You may indicate with the raise hand feature or type in the chat. No, we are all good. Is that it? Okay, then. Thank you, Mr. Bailey. At this time,
Welcome.
I invite Dr. Jacqueline Huggins to come with the vote of thanks.
Okay, good afternoon, colleagues. And I know you will agree with me, a program of this standard, there must be several persons that we have to thank for the success of this program. And I want to firstly thank Mr. Bailey. You were so comfortable. You made it look so very easy. You know, this morning I had a meeting on Microsoft Teams and I was like, what is this? I couldn't understand it, but you have clarified a number of things for me already. And I know everyone sitting here today feeling a little more comfortable. Thank you so much for taking your time and really sharing with us. I want to also thank Dr. Thomas Edwards, who introduced you, and he probably felt his duty was just small, but it was welcomed. Thank you, Dr. Edwards. I also want to thank Mrs. Lucretia Gordon-Brightson for taking us through today's presentation, today's program so easily and well done. I also want to thank, there must be a team who worked behind the scenes to ensure the planning and the proper implementation of this program. I want to say thank you. Lastly, I want to thank all participants for being with us today. And I know you will be taking something away from today's presentation. Thank you for your continued support and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thank you.
And thank you to Dr. Huggins.
Welcome.
May I add my own personal thanks to our presenter, Mr. Bailey. Well done. I've certainly learned a lot from this presentation, and I'll feel more confident, you know, going into Microsoft Teams and being able to navigate my way through. Let me say a thank you too to our participants for coming to the session, for participating and making this a worthwhile, a successful workshop. I'm happy for that. Now, before we go, there are just a few reminders that I'd like to leave with us, that on Thursday, we have the session on Zoom, facilitating workshops and meetings using Zoom. And we know that lately there are some new features in Zoom that, you know, would be useful for us as administrators, and no doubt our presenter will be taking us through those. Secondly, as usual, we have persons who may not be a part of, a member of ACHEA and would want to learn how to become members of ACHEA. May I invite you to visit our website or send us an email so we will be able to send you the link to my clubhouse. And this is ACHEA's newly acquired database. Now, the cost for individual registration, remind you, it's $50 US. There's a special discount going on now. The first 50 persons will get a 10% discount. In January, next month, well, no, not quite next month, January 2021, we'll be hosting a virtual comedy hour, and this will be one of two of our fundraising activities, and the cost for tickets is 1,000 Jamaican or $10 US. So we are looking forward to your support, and we hope that you will tell your colleagues about it and just put away that money from early. Don't spend it off over the Christmas. In time, you'll hear about our other activities. I'm asking or inviting you to visit our website or social media platforms, sign in to our Facebook, Instagram, and our Twitter pages. And of course, our dynamic PR team will keep you posted with all the activities. And just also to let you know that Conference 2021 is still on. So stay tuned for further information as it relates to our conference for next year. I believe those are the immediate announcements or reminders that I have for you at this time. So the last thing I will do is just to say thanks once more for coming today. And we look forward to your future engagement as early as Thursday. All right, blessings. Do take care. Have a good rest of the afternoon.
Bye, Lucretia. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
All right, take care, everyone. Thanks again.
And thank you.
And thank you, Xavier.